Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel outside the target demographic. Today we're going to be doing a brake fluid change on the 2018 Subaru Forester, so let's get started. A quick review of the things we're going to need. Of course, brake fluid, dot 3. We're going to need PB Blaster or some kind of penetrating oil to hopefully make freeing up the bleed valves, the nipples on the caliper, a little bit easier. Brake parts cleaner, you're going to spill at some point in time. You're going to make a mess, so be ready for it. Also, a magnetic flashlight, a water bottle with a rubber band, any section of tubing or hose that you have, the smaller the diameter, ironically, the better in this situation, a 10mm close-ended box wrench, paper towels, because again, you're going to be making a mess, and then something to lay on. This is something I keep in the car, lining the floor of my trunk. I have it in case I break down in the cold. And if I need to sit on something in these spring, summer, fall, and if I need to work on the car, it is a lot less aggressive and abrasive against the body than the blacktop of my driveway. Next up, we're gonna go under the dash. Right here is the icon for the hood release. Go over to the hood here. And we have our brake fluid. So it's going to tell us right here, dot 3. And when I pop it, we have a screen just like the 2020 Subaru Outback. The difference is my fluid is a little bit darker. So we're going to suck out what we can first. You can see right down there, quite dark. And we're going to suck this stuff out and we're going to replenish it with the new brake fluid. I'm going to show you guys a trick real quick on, if you don't have a vacuum pump, how to make a vacuum pump. So what I'm going to show you is with a section of, I have IV tubing because I work on medical equipment and I have access to such things. Shove it under there. This goes inside the water bottle. We're going to use the rubber band to hold this in place so it can't fall out. Wedge it someplace in the engine block where it's not likely to topple over. And basically, by holding a, not even powerful, this is a pet vacuum cleaner, by holding that nozzle up against the top of the bottle, it's going to suck and drain the fluid out without the possibility, because all the fluid is going to accumulate down here, without the possibility of sucking the fluid into the vacuum, which in this case is less of an issue. It's designed to pick up dog and cat piss, so it will not care that you're using it for brake fluid. So I left a little sample in here. You can clearly see this is kind of a honeyish color compared to the clear fluid we will be putting in. Use a flashlight on top of your reservoir. It will make determining how much you sucked out all the easier. We're going to go ahead and fill it back up, and we're going to start on the rear right wheel. Before we add the fluid, go ahead and put 2 paper towels underneath the reservoir. If you're going to leak, which you very likely are, it's better to already be ready than to have it continue dripping for 10 seconds as you try and locate paper towels and whatnot. It will apparently eat through paint, and I don't know what it does to rubber, so I'm not willing to find out. Go ahead and prepare to miss. Let's go ahead and fill it up to the max line here. The benefit of having a flashlight up there is you can more clearly see your fluid level and know if you need to add some more. Now, understand and appreciate as well, if you overflow right now, that's not so big of a deal because we're about to be draining this fluid through the brake caliper. So overfilling is okay. Every time you drain a brake caliper, we're going to go ahead and come up here, confirm that our fluid is high enough. We do not want to, so we're right at the line. We do not want to accidentally suck air into the system. That's the second least thing we want in the system. The reason the fluid turns a different color is it absorbs moisture. So you don't want moisture in your system. That's why we're doing the flush. And then you don't want air because air is compressible and fluid is not. Water is slightly compressible. The brake fluid is not. And water in your lines will, of course, rust, which is not what you want. So Again, you'll notice that's nice and clear compared to the honey color of the stuff that we pulled out. With all that in mind, let's get under the car. Laying on the blanket, we have the brake caliper here. There's a black rubber cap on it right there in the center of the screen. I will be removing that. As I am under here, I went ahead and hit it with some penetrating oil. That is what the dribbling is. I did that side as well. So while I'm working here, I can have the penetrating oil breaking free the bleed valve on the other side. It is close quarters. I have my muffler right here, the wife's 2020 Outback. Apparently the muffler is on the other side, so it's weird that they don't have uniformity, but fine. If you need to, you can drive up on a brick or something and give yourself a little bit more ground clearance. If you have ramps, a jack, stands, awesome, use them. I'm going to prove that you don't need to with this Forester. Let me go ahead and set up. We're going to have this water bottle up against the tire. We're going to put the hose up over a member so it's less likely to fall, and I'll show you what that all looks like. All right, so what we're going to do is the driver has pumped it up 3 times. I'm going to bleed it. I'm going to retighten it. Pump! Okay, and you'll hear that she is tapping the frame. Pump! Because right here I have an exhaust, I have a muffler, it's very loud. So when I hear her thump, pump, the frame, then I know that she has pumped, pump, the brakes, and you can see right here is the fluid level. When I do this, the fluid level has gone up. We're just gonna do that enough times to bleed the brake. I completed the second wheel off camera. It's the same as the first. Now we're going to be doing the furthest from the brake, which is the front right. Again, this one's going to be very much a feeling, but you can feel right here is the rubber cap. So I'm going to take that off, hook up the bleed hose. We're going to do the same thing here. This one's going to be largely by feel. You can attempt to crawl under there. You're going to have a loud engine. I've been able to do it from outside the wheel well like this. All right, so this time I have the bottle on the outside so I can see what's going on. Running through my rims, I have the tubing. I can see the drain valve here, which is very nice, assuming you don't have solid rims. And then with her holding pressure, you're holding pressure. Okay, and we're gonna watch the bubbles so we know we're getting flow. I did have to break this one free, pump, and what I did is I held that in place. I got a negotiator and I bounced it on top of this wrench a couple times lightly, and I was able to break it free. I am in the rust belt. I don't know when the last time this was done, but things you can do. I have enough clearance up here. I don't know if it would have worked in the rear, but I had a little bit more leverage being underneath the car than being outside it. So have yourself a negotiator if you need it. All right, and again, the last thing, make sure that your oil is filled up. We're going to start and pump the brakes of the car and take it for a test drive. It is better to have it fail on your watch, on your free time, a block away than at 70 miles an hour on the highway when you're already late for work anyways. Before we do that, we're going to log it in our maintenance log so that we know when to do it next. All right, so far, it feels slightly more aggressive. We're at a 10-degree downhill. I really don't notice that much of a difference, and hopefully you'll change your fluid before you notice any kind of a difference. Again, by doing the flush, you're removing any moisture that gets into your line. I did notice on the rear left brake caliper, as I drained it into the water bottle, being the water bottle is a clear container, I was able to see some particles of what I assume to be rust flakes in there, maybe 3 or 4, not too many, but big enough to draw my attention. So now, by doing it myself, I know that that's something that may or may not be going on. I don't know if that's just corrosion on the inside of the bleed valve, or if that's some sediment building up inside of my brake caliper. So now that I did it myself, instead of taking it to a mechanic, I can trust myself, because I was there, that there was some kind of particulate in the brake line. So something I can keep an eye out and put in my maintenance book as well. Going to do an emergency stop. She stops. So gonna take a fun, twisty, windy road up here for my benefit, not yours. But seems to be okay. What I would recommend to you is, if this is your first time or if you're not comfortable doing this, go ahead and take a pen or a marker, not a Sharpie, maybe a highlighter or something, and mark the fluid level of the brake line reservoir, brake fluid reservoir. Then the next day, as soon as you get to work, go ahead and pop your hood, check the fluid level, see if it went down at all, if it went down quite a bit. That is far easier than getting underneath and looking at all 4 brake calipers the next day and then the following week. But go ahead and mark in some non-permanent way the level that you filled your brake fluid reservoir to, and then the next day check it, a week later check it, a month later check it. And you will have variations just based on temperature. If you just got to work and you check your hood, I would imagine there'd be some thermal expansion from highway speeds and all that, so maybe check it before heading out from work. But keep track of where you filled it. For mine, I filled it to the fill line, wouldn't you know? And it is obvious enough that I know I can go ahead and check it in the next couple days. And if you park in a constant parking spot or a driveway, you should know if there's any stains or fluids or puddles anywhere. So over the next week or so, just go ahead and see if there's any new accumulations of fluids, which would be indicative of a leak. On your way out, you do want to make sure that you snug up the bleed valves pretty good. Mine were... I had to get the negotiator, I had to get the brick out and do some acoustic recalibration. So that's the other benefit to making sure that you do this on time. To be fair, I'm guilty of that, so learn from me. But I've had this car since... So probably been 3 years, 4 years since the brake fluid has been done. So that's bad on me. But if you do it every 2 years, the corrosion can't work in, the rust can't work in, and you're less likely to have issues doing it if you maintain it constantly, doing preventative maintenance rather than repair or reconstructive maintenance. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and have some fun through the twisty, windy road here. And should I survive, I'm going to go to Dairy Queen, because Dairy Queen's pretty freaking great. So go ahead and treat yourself. You just saved yourself like $80 at least by doing it yourself. So go ahead and treat yourself to a not quite yet $80 with inflation Dairy Queen ice cream. And congratulations on doing your own DIY. So this is Outside the Target Demographic. I appreciate you guys stopping by, as always. Any questions, comments, concerns you have, leave them in the comments section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.